I'm Jasveer Singh of the Sikh Press Association, and I'm here today to capture the Sikh perspective of the Modi Not Welcome protest.
So, what did you think of Modi coming to England?
Modi coming to England is unique because he's received more fanfare than we've seen the likes of Barack Obama receive, who again, when he became president, it was a huge deal. He's received more fanfare than anyone I can remember. It's like he's won the World Cup for England, and that's the kind of reception he's getting.
Do you think it's a bit of a kick in the teeth, the fact that he was actually banned from England and places like America, and now the fact that they've lifted it? Do you think it's all about just trade, or do you reckon there's something else behind it?
It is 100% all about trade. I mean, it speaks for itself. This guy was more or less banned from most of the West for about 10 years, and then suddenly becomes Prime Minister of India on a right-wing nationalist wave. He can sign trade agreements worth billions, and he's welcomed with open arms. He got a Royal Air Force display for himself yesterday, which kind of says it all.
Are you annoyed a bit with the English public for being so accepting about him coming?
Not really, because I would say in general the English public, they're not the ones that are kind of welcoming him with open arms. I've seen English press, English media, they've been asking the right kind of questions. So, I mean, we're glad that that's happening. There's a lot of NRIs, which is, British Indians basically, that are welcoming with open arms. We've seen more or less, tens of thousands of them in the Wembley behind me come to welcome him. And I have to be honest, I think I personally and the Sikh community and a lot of ethnic minorities are annoyed that they are so welcoming him and making him out to be some sort of messiah when only 10 years ago he was complicit in a genocide.
Regarding the minorities of India and how they're treated, yesterday I believe Modi actually met with some people of the Sikh public high up. And what do you think of that? Do you think that's just a stunt, or do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was one of the, or maybe even the first tweet that he sent out, because at the minute the Sikh issue in India is very prominent because Sikhs all over the world are speaking out about it, so it's very tactically planned. I know for a fact that that meeting was arranged at very short notice, without the consent of the Sikh community, who are very vocal and very active within how our so-called leaders conduct themselves and who they liaise with. And in fact, the repercussions of that have been widespread because there are people that are associated with certain groups. For example, the Sikh Council, the head of the Sikh Council was at that meeting, and because he did attend, a lot of members of the Sikh Council, one member, a very senior member, has in fact resigned because he has clearly stated that there was no mandate to go and meet Modi, and if there was, then it would have been proper to get a line of questioning ready from the Sikh community about what concerns are with the Sikh community and India, and none of that was put across. So, I mean, that meeting, it was definitely a tactical ploy to kind of make it seem that he is, addressing certain issues, when in fact, the majority of Sikhs would actually say that, he's probably not, it's probably just a ploy.
Do you think because of that reaction, this is why media finally started to see through that minorities are not getting treated justly?
I would 100% say, that media are picking up on, the reaction of not only the Sikhs, but you're looking at the Kashmiris, you saw Nepalese there, you saw Indian Muslims, a lot of people, the Dalits, the Hindus of a, lower caste, if you will, background. The collected, the voice of all these people together has definitely made British media and Indian media have to address concerns about Modi's past and Modi's present as well, the way the Indian government's presently conducting themselves.
What can people do to try and help out with you guys in getting more awareness for minorities in India?
I think it's just about understanding, what the minorities are doing, where we're coming from, what our concerns are. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to ourselves to kind of get what we're after and push for our own goals. But as long as people are aware of what we are trying to do and why we are trying to do it, then that will remove certain obstacles. Because there's a real issue right now of propaganda coming from India talking about specifically on Sikhs, the radicals, and just today and yesterday really disgraceful articles came out accusing Sikh temples, Gurdwaras, of conducting explosive making classes in Britain, in the UK, where they're essentially accusing us of running terrorism camps, and that's something completely unfounded. And so we want the British public to know, why these things are being said, because rather than address the issue of what our concerns are and what the problems are back in India, it's easier just to write us off as radicals and try to label us as terrorists and whatnot. So I think making the British public aware of these things, connecting with them is very important.